West Nile, hello Uganda, hello Africa, hello world. It is a very bright day here and I'm so delighted, very, very delighted to welcome you all for this relaunch of the Trinity Show. I know it's been long, since 2020, since we last aired, and I'm very, very honored that we are back. We are back today, and mainly we shall be has a YouTube podcast, so I hope you're ready for this. Yes, so as you all know, we are kicking off with the GBV series, which is Voices Against Gender-Based Violence, and especially in West Nile Region, which has been inspired by the book which I recently published, which is actually available. So this series will run from today, which is 15th of October, until the end of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, which will be in December, probably mid-December. Or we will continue. We'll continue with it. So I am your host, Trinity Peace Gorondru, and you're very, very welcome. Now, before I introduce our wonderful guest today, this is an appreciation to Arua District Local Government. We commend them because when we reached out to them, they came in as fast as they could as our first partners, official partners. So we commend Arua District Local Government, and as a patriotic citizen, this is how I think our local leadership should really be, because it shows that you have our back, has grassroots initiatives, you support us, and we are really, really so grateful. Now, as they say, we need to give honor to whom honor is due. I'm so happy that our first, the opening of this podcast, we are honored to have a representative from the government, and I'm so delighted, very, very delighted to welcome her here with us today. She is the communications officer of Arua District Local Government, and she's also an expert. She's a communications expert, so she's at the forefront when it comes to data, when it comes to statistics. She'll be able to share with us a lot from the perspective of the local government. So, Madam.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
I'm honored.
Thank you for honoring our invitation. Thank you for being part of this today.
Thank you.
Yes. So could you introduce yourself to the audience? Just something briefly about yourself, where you come from, just something like that. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much, our dear viewers. My name is Diana Ayikoru. I am a communications officer for Arua District Local Government, a specialist in, of course, communication, and it is what my career describes about me. Yes. I'm like the PRO, say, of the district. I am the face of the district. Yeah, if you can say a model, if you're to use the runway models language. So I'm honored to be here, and I'm very happy to work with this team, Trinity Show. Trinity, I must say, I'm so proud to be affiliated to you, if I can say that.
Thank you.
As a government official, it's only beautiful for us to see young people coming in and taking the mantle in a situation where there's a lot of havoc and a lot of mistakes. So it's really an honor also on our side. We are so proud to work with you and welcome it this gracefully.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Diana. So to kick off with our discussion, our audience, we are all expectant. Personally, I also really want to learn a lot. As the communications officer of Arua District, what does gender-based violence mean to you, and even the fight against it? What does it mean to you generally?
First, I will talk about gender-based violence. This is violence inflicted on somebody in relation to their sexual sex. For example, against somebody, if you are a gentleman, somebody teases you and they make you feel small, that is already gender-based violence. And then if you're a lady, and maybe if it can be physical, it can be psychological, So to me, as a communications officer and working in Arua District, which is a rural district, gender-based violence means the development or a hindrance, a stumbling block to the development of the district. Why I say so? Because when you look at the effects of gender-based violence, it first hinders your psychology and the way you think, and then the way you think also touches on the output. Because whatever comes out of you, whatever you do is what was inside you. So it's just a manifestation. So to me, gender-based violence is a huge deal. It's a big deal. It is one of the biggest setbacks to development. Maybe I could say more about that. Because personally, our brain is our everything. So once your brain is tortured physically, emotionally, psychologically, financial distress, stereotypes, gender stereotypes, you cannot produce that. That now leads to other subsequent issues of consumption of drugs and others. Yeah.
Yes. What I've picked from there is that it's a hindrance to development.
Yeah.
So once your mind, once you're affected, you find that it hinders other aspects of your life. Yes. So as the communications officer of Arua District, I know you're the source of, when it comes to data and all that. So can you share with us some of the statistics when it comes to gender-based violence, first, or from the perspective of Arua District? Then we also want to look at West Nile, especially for 2023 and 2024. Like which areas, what are the forms that have come up? That have been recurring, that have really come up as a top. Then also, what are the areas first in Arua District as a district, then in West Nile, where cases of gender-based violence is at the top?
Okay. Speaking about Arua District, our numbers 2023-2024, we've registered 1,334 cases of gender-based violence.
1,334.
Yes, 1,334 cases of gender-based violence. Okay. But when we scale down to just between January 2024 to September, we had 927 cases of gender-based violence, of which 852 are women on the female gender, and then the remaining 60-something is on the male gender. Yes, so that shows you the yes. But again, that is what has been reported. Gender-based violence is also killing our men silently, because there is that thing that men don't cry, number one. Number two, they have that ego. For them, they have to swallow it, which is why you see also we have now suicide cases. Yeah. Those are all issues of gender-based violence. Gender-based violence destroys everything, really. So you find that the men are trying, they hardly come to report. Because even when you go to police as a man to report, the policemen laugh at you and they're like, you're not in control of your home. So
why would the woman beat you up?
The 60-something men are strong men. Yeah. By the time they come and report, I believe that should be the next war to fight also for the rights of men, because they're also being abused.
Wow, so thank you so much for sharing with us the statistics generally.
But you had also spoken of West Nile. Currently, when we speak of West Nile statistics, we do not have the exact figure, but what is there is Arua District is the biggest problem of gender-based violence, if I can use that word. That's why we see very many NGOs have come in to try and arrest the situation. Last month, we had the Ministry of Gender and Local Government come in to empower. It was a whole event to empower our local councils. 1 and 2, how they can manage, because now the police and the others, it would be too much. So people should have a nearby station where they can report their gender issues and how they can be helped. Yes. So that is it, children, and it was a very good sensitization. So I think we are leading when it comes to, when it comes to gender-based violence.
Okay, so that shows that we have a lot to do. A lot has Arua District. And generally has West Nile in whole. So in connecting to the statistics which you've shared with us so far, I know there are campaigns that the district is running. There are campaigns to spare, like to raise awareness and to, raise awareness generally and, share with the communities really what is happening and how they can be helped. So what measures is Arua District, like specifically what campaigns or what measures is Arua District taking, especially being the communications officer? What is your office doing in connection to gender-based violence?
Okay. Now, looking at my office as communications, my office is just me, myself, but then the beauty about it is that we work together with other departments. So we have other departments of community services. We have also departments of probation. That's where they fall in community. We have the education sector. We have the health sector. So it is like work for everybody. Yeah, it is work for everybody. But again, also the beautiful thing is that we also have the media. The media comes in. So whenever there is community sensitization, everybody has a message to deliver to the people. It starts from our administration. We use two approaches. From the administration, top, bottom, and then also bottom, top. Now, the bottom top is beautiful because it's participatory. We go to the communities, during the sensitizations, we listen to what they say. When we listen to what they say, then we're able to come up with measures and also what works on. And then also when we look at our partners that keep coming in to help us, you're one of them. Yeah, this is very commendable. That's why when just a phone call and we jumped in very quick, because at the end of the day, we're looking for many hands to reach out to these people, to educate them, to empower them. So now when we get chance to go to the radios, we have to talk about this. So I'm on air at least 3 times a week, minimum. So whenever I go to air, I make sure you just say it.
Yes.
It counts. One person will listen, tomorrow they'll listen again, because humans, there's where God programmed us. Okay, for those who believe in God. And for those who don't, there's where nature programmed us. That once we keep on listening repetitively, we keep adjusting and accepting change. So to me, what's most important in my office here is to create awareness and expose the people to what is outside there, so that they can appreciate what is outside and also pick a leaf. Teachers help us a lot.
Yeah.
They speak about these issues, the senior women teachers, the male teachers, they speak to the learners. The learners transfer these issues at home. Yes. They know they're not supposed to engage into early sex, so that they can be able to avoid certain issues of gender-based violence, of stereotype and stigma. Yeah. So that helps them also. They also get to know their rights. So that is where you find the child can also stand for themselves. But again, also when you look on the side of health, we have district health educators, we have the district health officers. These people get down to the health centers where they are receiving teenage mothers, because our number is still the highest again.
Arua District.
Yes. So where we're receiving teenage mothers, you find that these mothers are helped in that line. They are advised, they are counseled. Organizations have also come in to try and help them so that they can also have maybe healthier children. So I think it's an effort for everybody, but we are still a long distance, but we shall get there.
Yes. Thank you so much, Diana. From the points that I've picked, the one that really connects so well with me is on the fact that we need to raise awareness. And I love the point of, if we keep repeating something, then as humans, eventually we'll try to adjust. So connecting to this initiative that we are carrying out, our theme, or our major theme, right from the book, is to shatter the silence that so surrounds gender-based violence. When it comes to our culture, our African culture, generally African culture, and especially our side, you find that some things, people usually don't like talking about it. We usually don't like talking about it. And then you find that we like hiding it, and we just like covering it up. So you find that even if there is an issue, we just try to pretend. So you find that even when things are so hard somewhere, or let's say in the houses, you find a woman could be battered, but when she comes out, she has to smile, and nobody talks about it. Nobody really talks about it. So personally, I believe that if we speak about something, silence is actually deadlier than whatever is happening. If something bad is happening, that thing is bad, we need to condemn it. But if we remain silent, that is even deadlier. So I commend the measures that you're taking, the fact that, at least thrice a week you're on air talking about this. And I believe that is something that is really commendable. So connecting to your office has in the communications department of the district, what challenges do you face when it comes to informing the community and educating them on the issue of gender-based violence, especially in the rural communities? I would say both town and rural, but especially in the rural communities. What are those challenges that you face in your department as you're trying to educate and as you're trying to raise awareness?
Well, as I'm beginning the challenges, I want to switch to connect your last phase with this question.
Okay.
Speaking of culture, that is number one.
Okay.
Culture would be the number one hindrance.
Culture.
In just not my department alone, but all through.
Mm-hmm.
For example, predominantly where this is a Lubara land, there at Arua District. So you find there is a norm where they say Aruba, meaning that if a perpetrator of a crime happens to be in the family, you do not take them to face the law. You don't take them to police. You don't call police on anybody in the family, because when you call, it will have an impact on the children. So you find a man of 40 years will comfortably impregnate a girl of 13 years and goes out with it, because he's now an in-law. So he cannot be taken to the police, to face the police, because it will affect the child. Yes. So now they're in-laws, they have to cement the relationship. And then you find now that is one big hindrance. And then a husband and a wife, if you are to have any problem, either physical or psychological or socio-economical, these things of money and all that,
yes.
You cannot even go to the police and report, because if you report and they take this man to police, you have to pay. In future, as in you have to pay that Aruba, that one. Why did you take the person to police? Because if any bad omen, if something happens to the children, they'll say you are the one who brought that bad. So our culture institutions have a big role to play when it comes in fighting gender-based violence. And then also there is stereotype there, and then generally against the young girls who get pregnant, they are eventually rejected. And then the men, you cannot report because your friends are going to laugh at you. So now, what brings hindrance to my department as communication? Number one, you're communicating to people who have already their norms that they have believed in. So that mindset change.
It's really hard.
Yes. That mindset change is hard. So it's going to take all of us, everybody, to fight this. Everybody. That's why we welcome you so much. Maybe this can change 100 lives, and those 100 will touch the next 100 or 1,000. So you find the biggest hindrance also to my department when I come to speak about communication is finance. Our government does not have enough funds. So if we can have more people coming in about different topics, GBV, now like we have the Trinity Show, that is excellent. You are covering up the financial gap of the government. That is finances generally. Sometimes you see a problem in society and you do not even know how to approach because of those perceptions. How are you going to do it? It has to take a full study. So basically finance is the biggest, one of the other things. Culture, finance,
Culture and finance. Yes, so those are the two major challenges that not only your department, but let me say Arua District in general is facing, and especially when it connects to the rural. At least when you come to town, people are trying to adjust, a little bit, but still,
they are still the same.
Still, there's no
because the mobility of people is in the same region.
The same region.
Yeah.
So culture, you have stated culture.
Yeah.
Has one of the greatest hindrances when it comes to this that we are doing, connecting to gender-based violence. And I would like to agree with you, because culture is something that is imparted in us right from childhood. Right from when you're growing up, you know that this is what I am supposed to do. It is not a bad thing, but I think culture should be able to, evolve with time. So we will have to engage with cultural leaders in different forums so that we are able to address this. What are some of the aspects when it comes to culture? What are some of the things maybe we need to do away with? Or what are some of the things we need to ensure that they evolve and become better to suit us?
Okay.
To suit us.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Number one, I would want to also speak about bride price.
Okay.
That is in culture. I'm not saying it is wrong, because I'm sure many people are going to watch this. It is good, but the fact that we tag it as a form of exchange, you exchange your child for bride price, it makes somebody think they now own the girl. So if you are my property, I can do what I want with you.
So do you think we should do away with bride price?
No.
Okay.
I'm not saying we should do away with bride price, but I think let us just understand the subject matter around the bride price. If it is a form of appreciation to the parents, let us take it with a willing heart that we are appreciating the girl's parents, because that is deep-rooted our culture. Yes. But taking it that now you have bought, for us here it is you have bought.
Even in Madi we call it laje. You're being bought.
So here it is aje. And so you find the boy child takes it as, okay, now I've bought, this is my wife, this is my property. So to me, I'll tell the boy child that we shouldn't take it like that. Take it as this, you have just appreciated the parents of your best friend, because I believe that would be your best friend. Yes.
Or maybe should we also okay, but that is culture. I was going to say, should we also say maybe the lady's parents also need to appreciate the other side?
It's also fine, because we've seen people do that nowadays. How the boy's family comes, brings things in, and then you find maybe the bride's parents give some things for them to develop. They say, okay, for people to start a home, we can give you A, B, C, D, go and begin with that, which is also a good thing. I think that is a good strategy to fight some of these gender-based violence and stereotypes and all that. Then also, when you look at culture again, that thing of not arresting people, that one there is still a big issue in our community. It is still a big issue in our community. It's not only going to be addressed by the cultural institutions, but it's also going to be addressed by the religious people as well. Many people are fighting this gender issue. But also, again, the people who are fighting it, are they the perpetrators? That's also another question. It comes back to personality. You find some people are the ones, again, inflicting such kind of harm on the other people. In churches, do we witness? Well, I'm proud to say that at least some churches, some places of worship are picking up some of these gender issues, and they are moved on. We see ladies now preaching. We see motivational speakers, ladies preaching in the churches. We've seen in Islam some ladies who are speaking to audiences, which used not to be the case many years ago. So I believe we are transitioning, as much as we're transitioning slowly, but we are getting there. Well, we appreciate the government's efforts also. You see the government, for example, bringing in issues like, for example, positions of women member of parliament.
Yes.
That is to fight the gender vice, whereby most of parliament was men. But again, it brings again another kind of gender-based violence, that somehow it's now the constituency MPs are now gazetted as male, which shouldn't be the case. You get? So when we look at gender is wide.
Gender is wide. Gender is so wide.
Gender is wide,
agree.
and it's also on the children as well. It is everywhere, so yeah, it is wide.
Okay, so in connection to that, you talked about culture. I think that has been our emphasis. You talked about culture, you talked about religion, and these are some of the influences either in the cause or the fight. These are some of the forums that we need to, the direction that we need to look at. So taking us slightly away from that, I want to bring us on the side of the job market. Because you are a government official, and you're the communications officer of Arua District. So do you think, I want you to comment on the issue of economic gender-based violence in the side of the workspace. What are some of the forms that we are seeing where either men are favored more or women are favored more when it comes to the economic arena?
The forms of gender-based violence in economic arena and in working spaces. Number one is exchange of sex for a job.
Okay.
Because that is also now a form of gender-based violence, whereby somebody would want to first have sex with you, and then they give you a job. Secondly, you find they pay some places. I will not mention categorically because these are things we've watched on news.
Yes.
These are things we've read on newspapers. These are things we've watched in movies and all sorts of media, that women in some places are paid less than men. Okay, and yet it's the same job. Then when it comes to, you find also sharing certain things they believe a woman doesn't deserve. But I think big ups to our government. In the space of government where I'm working, I'm not seeing that, because once you're recruited to your position, you'll earn the salary, that scale that you're supposed to earn. So I think it's good that the head is sane. What I mean, the head, the government, because the head of the body of the country.
Yes.
So if the head is sane, I believe the other parts of the body will be able to also adopt slowly. Yes. So for me in the government space, I'll speak about myself. I haven't witnessed that kind of gender-based violence in terms of sexual harassment, for example. Yes. And also my salary is, that's it. So even if it were a man, the man would still get the same. But however, you realize in the government space or in most public offices, it is the men that are in those offices. Recently, somebody was calling me and their friends, they were saying, but we always see you in photos, but you're always either one woman or you're two. So you find all are men. Now, what does that come to? That comes to empowerment from our homes as the girls. It comes to empowerment. Are we empowered to face the world out there? How many parents are empowering their daughters? Or do they still go by the old saying that they let the boy study, the girl will get married? So those are some of the things. But, well, right now we see enrollment in schools. We have very many girls. At least now girls are beginning to go to school. When you look at our education ordinance for Arua District, you see that for them they stop at least their target is primary 7 for every kid. That shows you how we're in a dire state when it comes to education. So when I look at myself, I'm somebody who is a graduate, and you are thinking, when will they reach to an expectancy of having everybody at that level if their target is primary 7?
So women should be empowered.
Women should be empowered.
They are able first to know their rights. I think that on the side of the workspace, they're able to know their rights. They're able to know what they deserve, and they're able to speak about it. So I do agree with the point that women need to be empowered in that line.
Now, as we're empowering the women, we should involve the men. That is what we have forgotten as a country. or as those earlier generations before ours, they are emphasizing on empowering women.
Women and forgetting them.
Yes, but now as you're empowering a woman, involve the men and the boys, because they're the ones going to help you to empower this woman. Yes. So that is paramount. And then also you find in workspace, I was taking a number of observation. I was speaking to some of my workmates. I was like, but I've realized most secretaries are female. And they said, yes. You mean you expect a man to be a secretary? I was like, what? Why not? So those are some of the gender stereotypes at workplaces as well.
That you're still having.
Yes. So you think that men can't be secretaries, men can't be janitors. That is work purely for women. So yes, generally gender is expressed in many forms. Even in our communities, when you go for funeral, you'll see the women who are cooking, the women are doing this, and then men, for them, they're the ones to carry the coffin, they're the ones to, dig the grave. So, yes, dig the grave. So it is like everybody's role is defined, which shouldn't be. We are saying we can accommodate everybody in every space. Yeah.
All right. So leaving that aside, let us come to leaving the economic side of it. We are actually almost coming to the end of this discussion. And I want to thank our viewers. I want to thank our viewers and our listeners wherever you are. So one of the aims of this is to facilitate dialogue, because as we had mentioned earlier, if we are able to speak about something, then we can create the change that we want. And personally, I am a learner. I'm not an expert when it comes to gender things. I want to learn. That's why I'm inviting expert guests like our communications officer here on board. So I believe it is something that we are all interested in, to be able to learn and to be able to pick out something from this. So I know there's someone out there probably who is wondering, if I am faced with a case, or if I'm a victim, because there are so many people who are going through this and they're not speaking out, and maybe they're wondering, how can the government help them? How can the government help them? What are some of the procedures someone should follow? Being it a man, being it a woman, or maybe a child, or how can someone get help or assistance, especially from the police? What are some of those procedures that someone has to follow? Let me give an example. Maybe in the workspace, I am being requested, okay, maybe I am being sexually harassed by a boss, and if I confront him, I might be fired. Or I'm at home, maybe I am a dependent, and I am being harassed or I am being abused by someone who is a caregiver, or my guardian, or my parent. What should I do? Because if I confront them, I might lose my home, and maybe I don't have anywhere else to go. What procedure should I follow?
Now, firstly, I'll categorize it this way. In the workspace, first of all, know your rights. That comes to self-empowerment. Somebody can empower you, yes, but for workers, let us adopt the new media, the technology era. Get to YouTube, get to the internet. Self-teach yourself some of these things. There are very many acts there. There are very many laws there. Labor laws, employment act. Those things. There are so many. So when you empower yourself, read some of these things, understand, if I am faced with such a challenge, what can I do? That's on an individual basis. Yes. Empower yourself. That way you're able to know, if I go to so and so, I'm going to get help. That is first on an individual basis. Now, another thing is, somehow our community, we've not instilled the culture of reading in our children. Even adults rarely read. Yeah. People they're lazy. But there's a lot, when you read, there's a lot of information there. I can't say I know it all, but when you read, you get to know some things. Now I know that if somebody wants to sexually harass me, I know where to go. I will go to maybe the police station, I can report. Better yet, I report to my supervisor. Yes. Now, if I don't want it to escalate, I report to my supervisor. My supervisor should advise the person. Now, if the supervisor doesn't advise the person and they don't act, that's when I go to another step. That is on individual workers. Now, for a child, children should know they have teachers. Children have their parents. Children have their guardians. Children move to the market and so, but children should understand enjoyment of their rights responsibly. Enjoyment of your rights responsibly, because some children, when it's market days, for example, ours in our Arua district, you'll find some market days children don't go to school. Teachers tell you today is a market day, children are going to be very few. Why? They are going to help their parents in the markets because they have become assistant parents. Parents, we have now left our roles also, a lot of it to the children. And when you talk to the parents in community, they say, but now what can I do? The child has to help me. I am getting weak. Really, now there, how will you continue with your advice? But the message I can give out there is the children should make use of their teachers. Confide, there's a teacher whom you like. And then also to the teachers, when you see a child is opening up to you, please, it means you're the one that the child has chosen. And trusts. That is important. So we should be in the position of helping the children. And then parents, you should know that you're the first teacher of the child. Our parents know the teacher is the other one in class, but the parent is the first teacher of the child. You're the one who empowers your child, and the child believes in themselves, and then they get that empowerment, and nobody can abuse them. An empowered child will stand up to a perpetrator and tell them, no, this is bad touch. You're not going to do that to me. Because the child has been empowered by the teacher. The child has been empowered by the parents. By the guardian. If you have an abusive guardian, you can still go ahead and look for the LC1. You can confide the LC1. These LCs, local councils, these are also leaders. They are leaders who also understand. They help the situation. So I only want to tell people out there, we have the local councils, we have the police, we have the courts of law, but you don't just jump straight to court of law. Some of those issues, they have begun from down there. Now, when you look at Arua District, we have probation officers. In our sub-counties, they're all there. Up to the district level, they have a structure. So even when there's any violation of a child's right, or any adult, or in such cases in family and homes, they are there. They are on the guard, just to let the audience know they should make use of people around them and use those people that you trust. Yes. And then also the friends we have in our life count a lot. Yeah.
You should be able to open up to them, share with them. They might be able to advise you. So thank you so much, Diana. And as we draw towards the conclusion of this discussion, could you share with us, it's now a personal opinion, what you think tops to you as the cause of gender-based violence? What do you think is, what do you think the causes are, the ones that top?
There are many causes, but number one is poverty.
Okay.
Number one is poverty. Now, I'll just take a case study or an example. Family X. Family X doesn't have money. Family X, the government will come and tell them, or these IPs, partners, will come and tell them, or where there are loans for women, there, mostly nowadays it's women. So husband will say, okay, I'll stand for you as a guarantor. Your better half stands as a guarantor, you get the money, and then he says, bring the money, I budget. That is already, it has started from word go. Or you get the money, yes, and then you use it, and then these other people who recover loan come and confiscate things in the house. And then husband is like, what the
war has begun.
The war has begun. So poverty triggers most of it. Now, because of poverty also, you find an idleness, because now For example, our youth, they are not working, most of them. Most of them sit by the roadside. Most of them abuse drugs. But as they're abusing the drugs, so what are you going to advise the child? Okay, the youth or the young person, now me in the government office, that you go from the roadside, stop selling fuel. That is the way they're earning. So what am I going to advise that child? So as they're out there, they're on drugs, and you know what drugs can do? Your mental, your psyche, your brain, I think you get triggered. It boosts your, what can I say, your thoughts, and then you think you have it all. So even an old woman will try to tell you, stop maybe urinating here. All you can do is slap. That's what the gender-based violence. So poverty, to me, poverty is all. And then also we see in some sub-counties of ours, especially some too, that is like Ajia and Logiri, where we see that the
Ajia and
Logiri, the education level is there is so low. Why? Still poverty. The children are forced to go and do hard labor to get money to buy uniforms and shoes and books. Yes. So eventually the children get tired. And they're like, but why? So the child drops out of school. And when they have dropped out of school, they become a public nuisance. And then one leads to the other. And then early child pregnancies. And then family when you're still a teenager. And then now you start raising a kid when you're a child also. And then you start, one thing leads to the other. So it's poverty, number one. Poverty brings down all these things. Because people are not in school, people are not working, people are picking loans. And then I pick loan from you, Trinity. I go and pick loan from another person. I pick loan from this one. I pick from Peace, from Patience. And then now I'm stranded. By the time I'm paying you, Patience is taking me to police. My husband is coming, trying to bail me out. When they take me back home, something triggers small, even when a child. Yes. So some of them, even there's that psychological torture. Yes.
So poverty tops. Poverty has a major cause to gender-based violence.
Yes. Poverty tops and stereotypes.
Poverty and stereotypes. Okay. Now, as we come to the end of this, I would like you to maybe face our audience and share with us maybe a message that you would like to give victims or someone who is undergoing this, and maybe they feel they cannot speak out. They cannot speak out because, you know, the cultural things. Maybe you prefer, you want to like, you know, handle it yourself, or a man out there who feels, if I go to police, how will they look at me that my wife has beaten me up? What message do you have for someone who is struggling, especially those ones who are struggling silently and they are fearing to come out to speak, to like maybe seek for help?
All right, my message to the audience out there, to everybody, is let's fight gender-based violence together. Let's fight gender-based violence together, you and I. And then if you're one of the victims, please learn to speak out, learn to report, learn to get your message out there so that you can get help. Because when you keep quiet, you think you are too strong, it leads to another thing, maybe like suicide. That's why now you start seeing suicidal issues, because somebody failed to open up. Maybe some of these things are just lies. And then also to the men, I want to tell them that they're also human beings. No one should lie to you that you're too strong. You can also report such cases so that you get help. And then to our community, let us adjust and understand that everybody has a right, and appreciate mankind. Appreciate your neighbor. When you appreciate your neighbor and believe that they also have good in them, they also get to appreciate themselves. And then also to us, appreciate yourself, personal. That is what we call self-love nowadays. When you believe in yourself, it's hard for somebody to break your arm because already you're empowered. That's what I can say.
Thank you so much, Diana. I'm really hoping to have you back again. You see, the first message that I gave, that the Arua District came in on board, I think I was mainly talking about her office. She was able to open her door, and she just came in with her energy, and this is so empowering. This is so empowering. If we are able to have leaders like you, especially in the government, this is really, really great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm hoping to to host you again. I know there's a lot we can talk about.
Sure.
So thank you so much. And thank you.
Thank you.
Our
Thank you too.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Now, as we've come to an end, especially for this episode. I want to thank Arua District again, and then not forgetting my partners. Our partners, as you can see, I'm shining, I'm looking like a bride. This is all thanks to Lenia Makeup Studio. And I also want to thank Also Arts as our major production partner. And then we have Mr. Brands, the one who handles the graphics and even my management. So I want to thank you all. And Ken Studios, let me not forget that. And Ken Studios and Ikram Fashion House for dressing me up. So thank you all. Thank you, our viewers. I hope that you pick something out of this and keep following us. Subscribe if you haven't. Yeah, let's meet in the next episode. Thank you.